Hey everybody, it's Rob Folia and Jessica Klein with Folia Properties here at Keller Williams in Nashville, and we're coming to you live today to dive into as we had to use our kitschy title. I know Jessica loves it. I know she knows I love corny, and so the real estate market update here today to give you the truth, what's actually happening in the real estate market, and so that way we can keep y'all posted and let you know exactly what to expect. That's happening out there because it's our first Friday in August, so we got July's numbers. So let's dive in. What do you say? What do you say, Jessica?
Yeah, new stats. I'm all about it.
All right, good deal. So what we were thinking is we'd actually walk through two examples of properties that we have that there are listings. One that's on the market and under contract, one that's on the market, not under contract yet, and show how the stats kind of support basically the performance that it's had, and then also kind of what that means for you as a buyer or a seller, and what you should expect if you're thinking of either selling your home or thinking about buying a home, and just diving into it. And the first thing that I want to show you here is it's for a listing that we have in Murfreesboro. It's a townhome that it's listed at 175, just hit the market and yesterday, and immediately we had a very first showing, produced an offer. It was above asking price. I can't give all the details, and yet it's insanely fast moving. Is that a fair assumption, Jessica? Fair way to put it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I can't remember the last time that we had a property that went that quickly with an offer that was like that. I mean, it was really like within seconds of it going on, we had like 5 showings, and it was definitely in demand. Absolutely.
Exactly. And and it made me start to question, well, was it just this property? Is it the price point? Don't get me wrong, I don't want this to sound pompous. I mean, I know we do a great job when it comes to listing and pricing and marketing and all that. And yet some of it's a product of the market, a product of pricing. And so I thought that'd be a great example to kind of dive into before we show the other one. And so what we're looking at is months of supply. So again, if you've watched any of these videos, months of supply is kind of our barometer when it comes to, is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? And how strong of a market is it? And before I look at exactly what we're looking at today, and I'm looking at the monthly months of supply. That's why you see a lot of peaks and valleys, because it changes a lot. And, every month, depending on how many homes are listed, how many go under contract. And before I dive into like what today looks like, this is what they consider, right around here is a balanced market. Right around 6 months of inventory is what they consider balanced. So when it was, the market was really down and it was a buyer's market, you can see here, even on low priced homes, there was 9 months of inventory out there. Whereas today, and we'll just dive into what I had pulled up a second ago, last month, there's less than 1 month of inventory, 0.6 months of inventory for homes in Murfreesboro below 189.
Yeah.
And
and look how quickly that dropped.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, we've been doing these videos. I was thinking back this morning, Jessica. We've been doing these videos since around here, March, April, when all the coronavirus stuff started and quarantine started. And we were saying that we didn't know what the market was going to do, come July, August, September. And this is pretty clear to show that we have an inventory issue. Because, not only was this a strong seller's market, and you could see it was kind of creeping up a little bit over the last couple of years, like these peaks being, in October of 18, and then right here, November of 19, it was creeping up. It's still a very strong seller's market at this price point in particular. And yet that's insanely low. Less than 1 month of inventory is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, our case with that property that we were talking about that got the 5 showings and like instantly and all that, like that's probably not that rare of a case right now with half a month of inventory. I mean, that's amazing. And like you said before, 6 months of inventory is balanced and kind of what the market's always trying to stay at. Like it goes a little high and then it drops back down, goes back high, so you're always dancing around that 6. So 0.6 is really like that's dramatic.
It is. I don't know if I've ever pulled these numbers and had it be that low, to be honest. And I'm not just saying that like, oh,
well,
I didn't remember. Like,
yeah, if you go back to the maximum of this graph, yeah, I mean that's
Even here, point
Essentially the
8 at one
lowest.
point last year, and yeah, and you can see it. It immediately jumped right back up.
Yeah.
It wasn't a dramatic drop off like this either. I mean, you can see from May to July, so in a 60-day span, I mean, inventory was cut down into a third of what it was in May, which is crazy. And anyway, I just that's to me that's just dramatic, and it just shows we need homes that are out there, and and I think to basically to kind of button this one up before we move to our next example, if you're a home buyer and you're looking for something like this, what that means two things. It means one, they're going insanely quick, just like we were saying with our listing that sold in just 6 hours in this price point. Um, Not only are they going quick, but the reason that ours sold in 6 hours and we didn't decide to go multiple offers or do anything like that was because we got an insanely strong offer. It was
Mhm.
above asking price. They won't get into all the details, and yet they had a lot of wording in the offer that made it attractive for the seller. Like the buyer did not get anything other than the home. They it was a win-win because the buyer got the home they wanted and the seller got an amazing offer. And
Mhm.
ultimately, in order to win as the buyer in today's market, for most homes, this is that's what you have to do, especially
Right.
when inventory is this low. I mean, it's an insane drop off. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, and I think like you said, if you're a buyer and you're looking in this price point in this area, um, you have to come in as strong as possible. And we have a video that goes very in depth about it. You can take a look on YouTube at that. But essentially, that means making sure you're very well qualified. So having had that discussion with the lender previously, and then having an agent who's going to go above and beyond and find out like, okay, what is it that the seller's looking for? And really when you're going out to look at things, make sure that you're ready to write that offer right then. None of this let's sleep on it stuff.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing that kind of concerns me, and the thinking that the market's going to kind of stay this way for at least another month, at least another probably 30 days, is look at how dramatic not only this drop off was, but this drop off was. That again, it's
Yeah.
in 2 months, it went down a month and a half in this price point in
Mhm.
inventory. To like this is an extreme seller's market. This is like it's like not even a market. It's like you're going to put
It's
a
a
home up and
mess.
we're going to get it sold as long as it's priced right. And I mean, because if we look at any of these other peaks and valleys that are in here, like just take toward the end of last year where it peaked in November and then it dropped in December. If you ask me, that's kind of just a correction because here it was, pretty similar for a few months here from what July, August, September, October. Not much of a change here. I mean, very, very slow changes. It jumped and then it dropped. And so it's any of these kind of peaks and valleys, they're showing that it's just a natural ebb and flow of a market. Whereas this is extreme. This is
Yeah.
something like we haven't seen. And so like I said, that's what it means for a buyer. And as a seller, what that means is as long as your home is not only priced right, you're working with a great agent that's going to price your home correctly, present it the right way, market it the right way. All of the above, you're going to get the attention you're looking for, and the home should sell immediately. And just so something to consider, we've often talked in these videos though about how like this is a micro market of our
Mhm.
Nashville market. And so Murfreesboro is it's a suburb right outside of Nashville, about what 25 miles or so southeast of Nashville, if that far, probably closer to about 20 miles outside of Nashville. Let's just dive into what the market may look like at a higher price point in Murfreesboro, because just because this is the case for homes that are below 189 does not mean this is the case everywhere.
Right.
So 335 or more, this is the highest price point that they give us in Murfreesboro for our statistics, unless we start diving into custom and all that. We won't mess with that too much. As you can see, going back the last 3 years at a higher price point, the market's a lot more balanced. I mean, remember, right where my mouse is hovering, 6 months of inventory is considered a balanced market. So I mean, it's still a seller's market, back in 17 and 18. But you can see at the end of 19, it's starting to really climb at this higher price point into becoming a
Mhm.
buyer's market. And
Yep.
yet, even with that, look at the drop off. I mean, it was beginning to level out toward the end of last year, to getting back to that balanced market. But then right here, from February at balanced market, 6.1 months, to July of 2.6. I
Yeah.
mean, that's at the highest price point. You can see how quickly the again, this is just a sign that there's a lack of homes out there. So it doesn't mean that a home's going to sell in 6 hours, like we just talked about with that $175,000 townhome. So if you have a $400,000 home here, it may not be the exact same thing. And yet this puts you at the advantage as a seller. Like when we talk about that, this is the time to take advantage of if you do want to make a move. Like if it's not a, if like we've talked about needing to move and wanting to move in the past. And if you're in the want to move category, like you're like, I want more space, I want this, I want that, this is the time for you to take advantage of it,
Yeah,
because there's going to be a built-in demand on your home.
absolutely. I am curious too. Can we see the max graph on this price point?
If Real Tracks
Maybe.
will cooperate, we will. And as we load, I'm guessing you're curious to see how low that is compared to anything else we've seen. Is that right?
Yeah, how low it is and how dramatic of a change it is, kind of like we saw it in the previous price point. I suspect that, yeah, there you go.
So yeah,
So
all-time low.
also very extreme for this price point.
Exactly, because I mean, remember what we were looking at at the lowest price point. Like the max was,
Yeah,
what were we
22
like
months.
well, we were at like 8 months of inventory for an all-time max, going back for 189.9 and below. For 335 and above, yeah, 22 months is the all-time max. And again, that was when the market was at its absolute worst.
Right.
And we might not ever see it be that bad again. Hopefully we don't. And yet, because inventory real estate is such an inventory based industry. Like it's pricing is based on supply and demand. I mean, it really is. It's just like anything. Like if you want to buy a stress ball that's out there, if it's the only stress ball that exists, you're going to pay a premium. And yet, if you go to a dollar store and see a million of them, you're paying $1 for it. It's real estate's the same thing. I know it's a very very dumbed down example, and yet it's all about supply and demand. If there's no homes that are out there for sale, if there's an all-time low in inventory, like we're legitimately looking at in this example, then you're going to be in a good spot as a seller. And it just means as a buyer, the win can be to just get the home. It may not be getting closing costs paid and this paid and that paid. Sometimes the win is just getting into the home.
Right. Yeah, having the frame of reference really helps to manage expectations.
Exactly. And so this is another micro market inside of the Metro Nashville area. I said we were going to run through one other example we've got, and we have a listing in Pigrum. And so for those that don't know, Pigrum's just a little bit kind of northwest of Nashville in Cheatham County. It's right over the county line, really. I think actually part of Pigrum's in Davidson County and in Cheatham County. And so this is the historical all price ranges in Pigrum. And in our listings, actually, in that one, it's in the upper category. We're listed at 309.9. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But you can see how Pigrum was kind of at an all-time low in inventory back in, basically early 2008 with less than 1 month of inventory. Then it started to get to a lot more balanced, toward the end of 18. And it's kind of become a very balanced market if you look back here over the last few months. And this is just the monthly. This isn't the 12-month average that we've shown in the past. So this really gives kind of the micro, maybe micro is the wrong term, basically like the now time of basically what we're looking at today is what I'm trying to get. And so you can see about 4.1 months of inventory in Pigrum. So a little bit higher than what we were just looking at in Murfreesboro. And I'm just curious, since we mentioned our listing that we've got, a great listing on Beach Hill Road, by the way. So if you're looking for a home that's priced a little bit above 300 at 309.9, it's a big home for the price. It's with a finished basement. It's about 3,000 square feet. It's on close to 2 acres. Great home. It's a great spot too, because it's right off. I mean, gosh, no more than 5 or 10 minutes from the interstate, right, Jessica?
Oh yeah, and honestly, I mean, I know I spend a lot of time there on the weekends because it's right by all of the canoe companies on the Harpeth.
Yeah,
it's a fun area.
Oh, it really is. I mean, if you were trying to get to like, I was in Bellevue recently, and all that new stuff that's off of Highway 70. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the name. I think is it Bellevue Center? I think it's Bellevue Center. I'm drawing a Bellevue. I can't remember now. I think it's Bellevue Center. All the new shopping and all that's there. That they've done a great job rebuilding that part of Bellevue. 10 minutes from there, probably, if that. But anyway, I digress. Great listing. If you're interested, give us a shout. But what I was wanting to show y'all is that basically here's one that we're looking at, and we're seeing 4.1 months of inventory still at this price point. This is above 289 or higher, and it's again, it's funny because when we start looking at the different micro markets,
Yeah,
like this
very
was
different
actually
story.
surprising. But yeah, it's 3.3 months. If you're looking, there's almost nothing out there that's less than 110. So we'll just go 110 to basically 210 right here. This is the same market that we were just seeing for that Murfreesboro townhome, that zero point 0.6 months of inventory. The fact that there's nothing out there causing it to feel like something is selling in hours, not days or weeks. Whereas, that higher price point, you're looking at closer to 4 months of inventory. And let me be clear too, that doesn't mean that it's going to take 4 months to sell a home at this price point. What that means is if no other homes were introduced to the market, that based on what we've seen recently, this is how long it's going to take for all those homes to sell. So is that being explained right? I want to make sure it's
Yeah,
coming.
no, that's exactly it. I mean, if you have 10 houses on the market, then it's going to take 4 months for those specific 10 houses to go.
Well, yeah. So like easy math, 10 houses that are on the market. If on average, two homes are selling every single month, that means it's going to take 5 months for them to sell. If you have 10 houses on the market and on average, 10 houses are selling every month, that means you have 1 month of inventory. So yeah, what we're seeing is in Pigrum above 289, there's 4 months of inventory. Not a bad market too, by the way, because keep in mind, balanced is right in here where my mouse is hovering, this line. And so it's actually dropped into becoming a seller's market again, something that we weren't seeing if you look back here, earlier this year. So I think we're in a good spot. And again, we've got an awesome listing there. So if y'all are interested, give us a shout. But anyway, just wanted to share that because every market's going to be a little different. Like, give me one more and I'll pull it up real quick. It could be in Nashville, it could be a suburb, anything.
Well, we could do where Jack and I are now under contract in Dixon.
Sure. Yeah, let's do Dixon. So Dixon's another great example here because this is all price points, and you see it's dropping. It's going from it's end of last year. It was still considered a seller's market. It was below that line, and yet it was creeping very close back up to that line. And if you remember, and going back to our videos that we did earlier this year, that's what we were saying was the trend line was showing that it was gonna, like, follow my mouse here, was gonna go up and not go down. And the fact that COVID hit and so many people said, well, we're just gonna bunker down, we're gonna stay put for right now. It's almost, I don't say artificially, but it's created this type of a market. Anyway, though, you can see this dramatic drop. It's similar to what we saw here with a dramatic drop. And let's just look kind of at another mid-range price point. So 179 to basically 259. And you can actually see that rising a little bit, which is a little surprising, but dropped a little bit. And some of that's just a natural ebb and flow like we talked about before. But even this, I mean, about 3 months, it's a solid seller's market, but not that extreme market that we were seeing at 180 and below in Murfreesboro or 110 to 210 in Pigrum. And I bet you if we look here at like 105 to 179, yeah, there's the drop in Dixon. So 2.2 months to 1.2 months in 1 month. And so
big,
pretty substantial change.
For sure. And I think, if we combine these three examples and all the different micro markets that we've looked at, I think the moral of this story is you can't really answer the question, how's the market, with one word, right? Like you'd have to say, how's the market in Murfreesboro, in the zip code, like under a certain price point? Like, are you a seller? Are you a buyer? It's a much more complicated situation than that. And the other half of that story is that we have the data and we're more than happy to walk you through this, whether you're a buyer or a seller, and figure out a good plan for you if you're looking to buy or sell.
Well, yeah, exactly. And well said, Jessica. And part of, I mean, we do these videos every month, and always the first Friday of the month when we have our new stats, we go through them like this. So if you're interested to see what it looks like in August, after August is done, check back the first Friday in September. We'll be doing the same thing going through August and going through a couple of micro markets again. And another reason, though, that I wanted to make sure we hit this video this week is I had a real estate agent friend, and I'm not picking on them. I won't give their name or anything. I saw them post on Facebook or Instagram somewhere. They posted they posted that basically, well, how's the market? Well, I have X amount of homes under contract right now. That's how the market is. And it was a good month for them. And I could tell they were excited, and no judgment in coming from me by sharing this. It's just, that's not informative. That's not
Right.
telling the consumer out there, well, how's actually the market doing? And that's our goal. Our goal is to educate, basically our consumers, our clients, let y'all know exactly what to see here in the Middle Tennessee or the Nashville area, and let you know what to expect. Because I'll end it just kind of pulling up Nashville, just so we can see, there's always ups and downs in our market. And if you're a home buyer in Nashville looking under 229, you can see that the market was actually worse for you as a buyer in toward the end of 17 and in 17 than it is right now. Like, there
Yep.
was more demand on that home then, like 3 years ago, than there is today, although it's dropping, as you can tell. And yet, if you're a home buyer in like 335 to 500, I mean, gosh, look at that. It's at 3 months of inventory. I mean, it was, as we've talked about, it was starting to climb back up, but it's dropped significantly this year. And if we look at a max, I'm just curious to see how that looks at the all-time. It could be an all-time low, 3 months right here in this price
Yeah,
point. Yeah,
kind of looks like
3.2.
it.
And so, anyway, I just want to share that because every situation is going to be different, and we're here to educate you and walk you through the process, whether you're a buyer or a seller or an investor, to help you know exactly what to expect and to make sure that we have you prepared for it. So if you're a buyer, that we've gotten you pre-approved, you're ready to rock and roll, and we can get you into that home that you love. And if you're a seller, that we can help you take advantage of the circumstances that the market's in, and get you the most money that we can. So
Absolutely.
cool. I know I probably rambled for long enough here. Anything else that you want to add, Jessica?
No, I don't have anything. It doesn't look like we have any questions yet on Facebook. So if you have any, go ahead and drop them below. If you're on our email list, you'll see this video go out, and we're also on YouTube, and this will stay on Facebook. Yeah, just here to answer any questions you have.
Exactly. So if you're curious and you didn't want to, if you're shy and you didn't want to share on Facebook, hey, I'm in this zip code, what's the market doing, or this city, PM us, email us. You can PM me directly here on Facebook. I'll be honest, I'm not on Facebook as much as I have been. I'm trying to do a little bit of a Facebook detox, although I am on here occasionally. But you can always PM me. I do see the PMs a little bit more than I'll see the comments. So PM me. You can always email us directly, info, INFO, at foliaproperties.com. You can call us or text us, 615-591-5665. Or leave a comment, because we will definitely respond to the comments. Just may take a second if you leave a comment, but definitely PM us, email us, call us, text us. We're happy to walk through your example with you and help you, because ultimately, for you to make the best decision for your life and for your family, it's having all the information at hand that makes that decision possible. So reach out to us and let us know how we can help. And until next time, we'll be back here next week.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks, y'all. Bye.